Now we're going to talk on the programme about unsafe cladding on flat blocks in Birmingham. Now this obviously has been a topic since Grenfell Tower tragedy in 2017, and the government has a plan to replace all cladding that is unsafe. But people living in apartments saying they need more help with the cash. One block was given a quote of £13 million to replace the cladding. Now, Tom White lives at the Hemisphere apartment in Edgbaston and he's on the programme this morning. Hiya, Tom.
Morning, how's it going?
All right, mate, yeah, thank you. Thanks for coming on. So your block then is one of those with the unsafe cladding. So how does that make you feel day by day?
It's a real toxic mix of emotions, to be honest. It's difficult to know how to feel from moment to moment, There's this underlying fear that comes from living in a building you've been told is unsafe. There's the financial stress as well. As you say, we've got this 13.8 million cost, which we've been quoted, which works out at £40,000 each. On top of that, we're being asked to pay £5,000 a week across the development for a wake-in watch. And we've also got the rise in insurance premiums, which are set to hit in March as well. So we could be looking at another £1,000 a year plus for that.
Blimey, Tom. Blimey.
Yeah,
so I'm just doing maths isn't my strong point, but we're talking the best part then of an extra 50 grand really then. 40 grand for your share of the replacement of the cladding, and then obviously the extra stuff that you're going to have to pay for as well. I mean, what was your reaction when you were given that initial figure of £40,000 to get it to basically just pay for your own safety?
Well, there's a real kind of worry about bankruptcy there, but it's all sewn up in this anger towards the government. Really, they've put forward this building safety fund of £1 billion to pay for the remediation. But the estimated costs across the country are estimated to be £15 billion at least. They're also working on this proposal which will see any costs that aren't covered passed on to leaseholders through our service charges. And what that amounts to really is taking on loans, and you can think of it as a second mortgage that you didn't agree to and that you probably can't afford either.
Can you afford it?
I can't now.
So is it a case then you are going to have to do this, in inverted commas, second mortgage?
If things stand as they are, yes. And because of this, I've been having difficulty sleeping. I've had to take days off work to cope with these stresses as well.
And is that, everyone's in the same boat as well then, aren't they, in your apartment block? So what's the general reaction from people?
A lot of shock. We can't believe that the government aren't stepping in to do more. I really feel for families in the block, especially who were looking to move to start a new family and now can't. They're stuck. They're trapped there in flats that are essentially unsafe and unable to move on with their lives. It's complete disbelief across the board, really.
So, how long have you been there? Do you mind me asking, Tom?
No, that's fine. So I've been there about 4 years.
So you moved in before Grenfell?
Yes, that's correct. Yes.
And then when, I was off work that week, and I remember just sitting there watching it, and well, I think everyone felt the same, just horrified. And when then you realise that your block where you are, after you've just bought it, is unsafe as well. Did you expect things to get sorted a lot quicker than possibly they have done now? Who'd have thought then we'd still be talking about this and the fact that you've still got this issue 3.5 years on, nearly 4 years on?
Absolutely. Well, we all saw the tragedy unfold, and you look at the kind of looming spectre of the building, and you think of the people that lost their lives and their families, and you can't believe that the government don't seem to be taking it seriously even now. The people responsible, this is a result of widespread industry corner cutting and failure of regulation, and yet the guilty are essentially getting away with this scot-free, and it's the innocent who are having to foot the bill. And it's a disgrace, frankly.
And of course, you've got no chance of selling it at the moment because no one's going to touch it with the barge pole, are they? In its current state.
No, and part of the regulations at the moment as well mean that the flat is valued as being worth zero. So there's no chance of selling it.
And what's it been like the last year, particularly when I'm guessing, like most of us, you've spent a lot more time in there knowing that it's not safe?
Well, absolutely. The whole situation has been compounded by the pandemic. I'm stuck in a fairly small flat, kind of knowing that my financial situation could come from under me over the next few weeks and months.
Tom, what would you like then the government to do?
So for me, any solution to this problem has to pass 3 tests. It has to make the money available quickly to make these buildings safe. It has to protect the innocent party, that's us leaseholders, from financial ruin. And it also has to deliver justice as well. It has to ensure that the guilty parties know to put profits before people again. And there is a proposal that passes these 3 tests. And that's the one put forward by the LKP, the Leasehold Knowledge Partnership. And they're suggesting that the government issues bonds to pay for remediation, which is then in turn paid for by levies which are imposed on the housing sector, so developers, cladding manufacturers. And this proposal has the advantage of protecting both leaseholders, but also taxpayers as well, taxpayers who aren't leaseholders.
I wish you well, Tom. Thanks for coming on this morning. Well, government ministers are considering an extension on the initial £1 billion building safety fund, a package for leaseholders like Tom, which has hit. And once we have details on that, of course, we will let you know here on BBC Radio WM.